The Day Humanity Defied the Galactic Council and its Alien Armies. Part 1. Captain Jack Monroe stood on the bridge of the USS Defiant, staring at the stars beyond Saturn's rings. It was supposed to be a routine patrol. The year was 2087, and humanity had spread throughout the solar system with colonies on Mars and Europa. Life was good. Progress was steady. "Captain, we're picking up strange energy readings near Titan," said Lieutenant Steve Adams, his eyes fixed on the glowing screen. "What kind of readings?" asked Monroe, walking over to the navigation console. "Nothing I've ever seen before, sir. It's like space itself is being torn open." Monroe was about to order a closer look when the ship's alarms blared. The view screen showed what could only be described as a hole in space, a swirling blue-violet tear that seemed to bend light around its edges. From this impossible opening, massive ships emerged. Not one or two, but dozens, then hundreds. "Battle stations," Monroe ordered, his voice calm despite the hammering of his heart. "And get me Earth Command immediately." Across the solar system, in the United Earth headquarters in Geneva, Ambassador Lisa Wright was enjoying her morning coffee when her communication device erupted with urgent messages. Within an hour, she found herself in the largest meeting room of the building, facing a being unlike anything humans had ever officially encountered. The alien stood nearly 8 feet tall, with an exoskeleton that shimmered like polished metal. Its forearms moved in perfect coordination as it manipulated a hovering device in front of it. Most disturbing were its compound eyes, thousands of tiny facets that seemed to take in everything at once. "I am Zix Vorn, representative of the Galactic Council," it said, its words translated through a device on what might be called its chest. "We have observed your species for many of your years. We have come to a decision regarding your status in the galactic community." Lisa straightened her back. 20 years of diplomatic service had prepared her for many things, but not this. Still, she would not show weakness. "Earth welcomes the Galactic Council," she said. "We are eager to establish peaceful relations and cultural exchange." The alien's mandibles clicked in what might have been amusement. "There will be no exchange. Your species has been deemed too dangerous for full integration. Your history is filled with war. Your technological advancement curve is steeper than 97% of known intelligent species. Unchecked, you present a clear threat to galactic stability." In her office at the Defense Intelligence Agency, Commander Samantha Powell received the video feed of the meeting with growing anger. She picked up her secure phone and dialed a number very few people knew existed. "Activate the Artemis Protocol," she said to the person who answered, "and get me everything we have on previous suspected alien contacts throughout human history. I want the classified files, not the official denials." The person on the other end was silent for a moment. "Ma'am, those files are sealed by direct presidential order, and I'm unsealing them by direct, we might be facing extinction order. Now move." Back in Geneva, Zix Vorn was explaining humanity's options to the quickly assembled Emergency Council of Earth leaders. Option 1. Earth becomes a protected territory under Council supervision. Your technology will be limited. Space travel beyond your moon will be prohibited. In exchange, you will receive certain benefits of Council membership, including medical advances and resource allocation. President Alan Garcia leaned forward. "And if we refuse?" Option 2. Your species accepts permanent quarantine. You may keep your current colonies, but you will go no further. Energy shields will be placed at the boundaries of your solar system. You will never leave. "And the third option?" asked the president, though from the alien's tone everyone already knew. "Military action," said Zix Vorn. "Complete and decisive. We have done this before with species who presented similar threats." The alien's voice became almost gentle. "It would be regrettable." The room erupted into angry shouts and desperate questions. The alien stood impassive, waiting for quiet to return. Lisa Wright noticed President Garcia slide his finger across his tablet in a specific pattern, a silent command she recognized from security briefings. Around the world, certain individuals would now be receiving activation codes for a contingency few believed would ever be needed. "How long do we have to consider these Options? She asked. 48 of your hours, replied Zixvorn. The Council is generous. Most species are given far less time. On the dark side of the moon, Dr. William Jones received the emergency alert on his implanted communicator. His hands trembled as he placed them on the biometric scanner that would open the doors to Luna's most secret facility. Begin warm-up sequence for Project Prometheus, he told the small team of scientists who had just been woken from sleep. This is not a drill. One of the younger scientists, Dr. Karen Lee, looked at him with wide eyes. But sir, the project isn't stable yet. The power source, we don't have time for stable, said Jones. They're here. In orbit around Neptune, Colonel Eric Martinez and his team of Space Force special operators received their orders. Their small, unmarked ship changed course, heading for the first of 7 classified locations. What exactly are we activating, sir? Asked Sergeant Paul Green. Martinez looked at the classified files now displayed on his tablet. According to this, they're called quantum defense satellites, designed by some physicist named Dr. Olivia Clark. They're supposed to disrupt wormhole technology. Wormholes aren't real, said Green. That's science fiction. Martinez looked out the viewport at the stars. I think our definition of fiction just changed. In New York City, Kate Rodriguez pointed her camera drone at the growing crowds in Times Square. As a freelance journalist, she knew a historic moment when she saw one. The government had tried to keep the alien ultimatum quiet, but in an age of instant global communication, the news had spread within hours. Some people carried signs declaring the end of the world. Others wore makeshift armor, as if ready to fight alien invaders with baseball bats and kitchen knives. Still others simply sat in circles holding hands and praying. The people have a right to know what's happening, she said into her recording device. Government sources remain silent on what options are being considered, but unofficial channels suggest that submission is not on the table. As the deadline approached, world leaders gathered at the United Nations headquarters. The building was surrounded by military vehicles and nervous soldiers. President Garcia looked at the faces around him, some determined, some frightened, all waiting for him to speak. We will not submit, he said simply. We will not accept imprisonment in our own solar system, but neither will we declare war yet. Ambassador Wright nodded. I'll return to Zixvorn with a request for more time. I'll tell them we need to prepare our society for integration with the Council's restrictions. Will they believe that? Asked the Chinese premier. Garcia's smile was grim. They don't need to believe it. They just need to be distracted while we deploy our only chance of survival. The day humanity defied the Galactic Council and its alien armies, Part 2 Dr. William Jones hadn't slept in 36 hours. His eyes burned as he stared at the glowing core of Project Prometheus. The device took up most of the underground chamber, a massive ring of technology that hummed with power. Part of it was human innovation, but its heart was something else entirely. Technology salvaged from a crashed alien ship found buried in Antarctic ice 14 years earlier. Power levels are at 87%, reported Dr. Karen Lee. That's the highest we've ever achieved. It's not enough, said Jones, rubbing his temples. According to the simulations, we need at least 95% to create a field strong enough to matter. Karen hesitated before speaking. There is one way. If we remove the safety buffers, we might melt half the moon. Jones finished her thought. He looked at the countdown on his tablet. 23 hours left before the Council expected an answer. Begin removing the buffers. Carefully. Across the solar system, Colonel Eric Martinez and his team reached the 4th quantum defense satellite. The previous 3 had activated without trouble, but this one remained dark. The activation code isn't working, said Sergeant Green, floating beside the satellite in his spacesuit. Martinez pushed himself closer to the device. Dr. Clark mentioned there might be issues with this one. She said there's a manual override. He examined the satellite's exterior until he found a small panel. Behind it was a physical switch that seemed almost primitive compared to the advanced technology surrounding it. Sometimes the old ways are the most reliable, he muttered as he flipped the switch. The satellite hummed to life, its lights blinking, in sequence. Back on Earth, Commander Samantha Powell read through the classified files on suspected alien contact with humanity. The evidence was circumstantial but compelling. Cave paintings from 30,000 years ago showing figures that matched the description of council species. Unexplained DNA modifications that appeared in human populations around 15,000 years ago. And most disturbing, evidence that several ancient human civilizations had been deliberately destroyed when they reached certain technological thresholds. She picked up her phone and called President Garcia directly. "Mr. President, I think we've been their lab rats, and now the experiment is being shut down." On Mars Colony Alpha, Governor Frank Murphy used his highest security clearance to enter a facility that officially didn't exist. It had been built beneath the colony's largest agricultural dome, hidden from satellite surveillance. "How quickly can these be deployed?" he asked the facility's lead engineer. The engineer, Ryan Bell, patted the nearest of the 12 spherical devices that filled the hangar. "The gravitational disruptors are ready now. But sir, my theories about how they'll affect council ships are still unproven. In the simulations they work perfectly, but reality has a way of being messier." Murphy nodded grimly. "Well, we're about to find out if you're as much of a genius as you think you are." In New York, the emergency session at the United Nations continued. Ambassador Lisa Wright prepared to return to the council ship with humanity's official response, a request for more time. "This is merely a delaying tactic," President Garcia reminded the other world leaders. "We need another 24 hours, minimum, for all systems to be in place." The Russian president looked skeptical. "And if they see through this deception, they could decide to attack immediately." "Then we'll have to be convincing," said Wright. "And I'll need to stay aboard their vessel as long as possible. If they decide to attack, I need to transmit any information I can about their tactics." Garcia shook his head. "That's a suicide mission." "With all due respect, Mr. President," Wright replied, "we all signed up for the possibility of sacrifice when we took our oaths of office." Aboard the USS Defiant, Captain Monroe received new orders. His ship would escort Ambassador Wright to her meeting with the Council, then take position near the largest alien vessel. "Sir," said Lieutenant Adams, "these orders were to engage only if directly fired upon, but we're supposed to position ourselves within weapons range of their command ship." Monroe smiled thinly. "It's called gunboat diplomacy, Lieutenant. Very old human tradition." In the suburbs of Chicago, Kate Rodriguez interviewed people preparing for the worst. Some families built makeshift shelters in their basements. Others packed their cars, planning to drive to remote areas. A few simply sat in their yards, enjoying what might be their last sunset. "Do you think we have a chance?" she asked an older man who was calmly placing supplies in his garage. The man, a retired military officer named Joe Miller, paused. "Humanity has faced extinction before. Ice ages, plagues, our own nuclear weapons. We're still here. Whatever. These aliens they've never faced humans with their backs against the wall." Ambassador Wright boarded a small shuttle that would take her to the Council's command ship. Through the viewport, she could see hundreds of alien vessels positioned around Earth, like predators circling prey. The shuttle docked with the massive alien ship. Wright straightened her jacket and prepared to play her part in humanity's desperate gamble. Zixvorn greeted her in what appeared to be a meeting chamber. Several other alien species were present, some vaguely humanoid, others completely foreign to human physiology. "You have reached a decision?" asked Zixvorn. "We request additional time," said Wright. "Our society needs preparation to accept such significant changes. We propose a phased integration over 5 years." The alien's compound eyes seemed to study her for evidence of deception. "This is unexpected. Most species choose immediate resistance. Humans value survival above pride," Wright lied smoothly. "We recognize the Council's superior position." On the hidden facility on Pluto's moon, Charon, Dr. Olivia Clark worked frantically to complete her analysis of the Council ships. The quantum satellites were providing valuable data as they came online. "There," she said, pointing at a pattern on her screen. "Their propulsion systems all have the same resonance frequency. It's a design flaw we can exploit." Her assistant looked confused. But how do we target it? Our weapons can't penetrate their shields. Clark smiled. We don't need to penetrate. We just need to vibrate at exactly the right frequency. She began transmitting her findings to all human military vessels. As Ambassador Wright kept the council representatives talking, asking detailed questions about how the Protectorate status would work, Colonel Martinez activated the seventh and final quantum defense satellite. The network was complete. All satellites showing green, he reported, ready to disrupt their wormhole technology on your command. In the lunar facility, Dr. Jones watched as Project Prometheus reached 96% power. We're ready, he told President Garcia via secure communication. The shield can be activated at your command. Across the solar system, humanity's hidden defenses waited. The pieces were in place. The trap was set. On Europa, the smallest of IE Council scout ships moved closer to the human colony, seemingly curious about the structures on the icy moon. They're scanning us, reported Governor Susan Bennett to Earth Command. Should we maintain the deception or... She never finished her sentence. The Council ship fired without warning, its energy weapon cutting through the colony's main dome. Alarms blared as emergency systems engaged, but for thousands of colonists, it was already too late. President Garcia received the news in grim silence. Then he gave the order that would change humanity's future forever. They've fired first. Engage. All defenses. Humanity will not go quietly. The day humanity defied the Galactic Council and its alien armies, Part 3 Captain Jack Monroe felt a cold anger as he watched the destruction of Europa colony on his view screen. Without waiting for further orders, he turned to his weapons officer. Target, the nearest Council vessel and fire, he commanded. The USS Defiant's hidden weapons systems emerged from compartments that had appeared to be standard hull plating. Energy beams lanced out, striking a Council scout ship. To everyone's surprise, the alien vessel's shields failed almost instantly, and the ship broke apart. How did we do that? Lieutenant Adams asked in disbelief. Dr. Clark's frequency analysis, Monroe replied. Helm, bring us around, target the next ship. On the Council command ship, Ambassador Lisa Wright felt the slight vibration of weapons fire. Zix Vorn's compound eyes shifted rapidly, and it touched a device on its exoskeleton. You have deceived us, the alien said. Your kind begins resistance, while speaking of peace. This confirms our assessment. Wright stood tall. You fired on our colony without provocation. Did you expect us not to defend ourselves? That was merely a demonstration of the consequences of refusal, Zix Vorn replied. Now you will witness the full power of the Council's military. The alien turned to leave, but Wright called out, Before you go, I should tell you something. She smiled coldly. We've been expecting you for a very long time. In lunar orbit, Dr. William Jones activated Project Prometheus. A wave of energy spread outward from the moon, enveloping Earth in a shimmering barrier. The first Council ships to fire on the planet watched as their energy weapons dissipated harmlessly against the shield. It's working, Dr. Karen Lee shouted, looking at the readings. The shield is holding at 83% capacity. Jones couldn't quite believe it. The alien technology we reversed engineered, it's like it was designed to defend against their specific weapons. On his command terminal, Colonel Eric Martinez received the order he had been waiting for. He activated the quantum defense network. Across the solar system, the 7 satellites began emitting pulses that disrupted the fabric of space-time. Near Saturn, where the alien fleet had first appeared, the massive wormhole suddenly became unstable. Its edges flickered and then collapsed, cutting off the Council's reinforcements and escape route. Network is online and functioning, Martinez reported. Their wormhole technology is neutralized. Whatever forces they have in our solar system now are all they're going to get. From her hidden facility on Charon, Dr. Olivia Clark continued analyzing the Council ship's weaknesses. She established a direct link to all human military vessels. Target the nodes where their upper and lower hull sections connect, she instructed. Our scans show power conduits run through those areas with minimal shielding. Earth's defensive fleet, small but now armed with crucial knowledge, began engaging the Council ships with surprising effectiveness. For every human vessel lost, 3 or 4 alien ships were destroyed. On Mars Colony Alpha, Governor Frank Murphy gave the order to deploy Ryan Bell's experimental gravitational weapons. The 12 spherical devices rose from hidden silos beneath the colony and took position in orbit around Mars. "Activating gravitational disruptors now," Bell said, his fingers flying over the control console. The devices began emitting invisible waves that distorted gravity in precise patterns. The largest Council ships approaching Mars suddenly found themselves unable to maintain course. Some were pulled into each other, while others spun helplessly, their engines fighting against forces they weren't designed to counter. "It actually works," Murphy said, staring at the tactical display in amazement. Bell allowed himself a brief smile. Sometimes being the crazy one has its advantages. In New York, Kate Rodriguez broadcast live footage of the battle visible in Earth's skies. Despite the danger, she refused to take shelter, believing the world needed to see what was happening. The entire planet is witnessing an unprecedented moment in human history, she reported as brilliant flashes of light marked the destruction of ships miles above. "After thousands of years of looking to the stars and wondering if we were alone, we now find ourselves fighting for our very existence against beings from those same stars." On the Council command ship, Ambassador Wright had been taken to a detention cell. She had managed to activate the emergency beacon hidden in her diplomatic credentials before being searched. The small device transmitted her location to all nearby human vessels. Zix Vorn appeared outside her cell, flanked by guards. "Your resistance is impressive but futile. The Council has extinguished more advanced civilizations than yours." Wright leaned against the wall casually. "Tell me, have you ever heard of a species called the Precursors?" The alien's reaction was subtle but unmistakable, a slight stiffening of its posture. "Where did you hear that name?" "We found records in the ship we discovered in Antarctica," Wright bluffed, watching carefully for reactions. "Interesting reading." In Washington, D.C., Commander Samantha Powell pieced together the final parts of the puzzle. The classified files painted a clear picture. An advanced species called the Precursors had visited Earth thousands of years ago. They had been hunted to extinction by the Galactic Council, but not before they had made subtle changes to human DNA. "They were preparing us," she told President Garcia. "They knew the Council would come eventually, and they gave us the capacity to fight back." President Garcia ordered the activation of a worldwide emergency broadcast system. His face appeared on screens across the planet and in all human colonies. "People of Earth and our solar colonies, we are engaged in a fight for our survival against an alien force that calls itself the Galactic Council. They have attacked without just cause, but humanity will not fall. Even now, our forces are holding the line, using technologies and abilities our enemies never expected us to possess." As he spoke, civilian hackers around the world launched their own form of resistance. Led by a mysterious figure known only as Ghost, they had discovered ways to interfere with Council communication systems. From his apartment in Seattle, Daniel White, the real identity of Ghost, coordinated the digital attack. Once a top cybersecurity expert before being fired for ethical violations, he now used his skills for humanity's defense. "Their communication protocols are actually simpler than ours in some ways," he told his online team. "They never expected to be hacked by a primitive species." Council ships throughout the solar system suddenly lost contact with each other. Their carefully coordinated attack patterns fell into disarray as false orders and scrambled data filled their networks. In orbit above Earth, Captain Monroe's USS Defiant led a daring assault on smaller Council vessels that had broken through the defensive lines. Despite taking heavy damage, the ship continued to fight. "Engineering reports drive systems at 40%, weapons at 65%, Lieutenant Adams reported. Monroe nodded grimly. "That will have to do. Set course for the Council command ship. It's time we take this fight directly to their leader." As the battle raged across the solar system, Council Commander Krax Azul received the reports of unexpected resistance with growing fury. From the bridge of the massive flagship, he made a decision that would change the course of the conflict. "The humans cannot be allowed to inspire others with their defiance," he told his officers. Prepare the planet killer. We will end this now. The largest ship in the Council fleet began to open like a flower, revealing a weapon that could shatter a planet's core. The day humanity defied the Galactic Council and its alien armies. The skies above Earth filled with the massive shapes of Council warships. Their hulls gleamed like polished metal in the sunlight as they positioned themselves in attack formation. From the largest ship, a central section continued to unfold, revealing the weapon that Council Commander Krax Azul hoped would end human resistance once and for all. On the bridge of the USS Defiant, Captain Monroe watched the enemy flagship with growing concern. "What are they doing?" he asked, though no one had an answer. The ship's sensors suddenly spiked. "Captain, we're detecting an enormous power buildup in the enemy flagship," reported Lieutenant Adams. "It's like nothing we've seen before." Monroe made a quick decision. "Change of plans. All power to engines. Get us to that flagship now." In her cell aboard the Council command ship, Ambassador Lisa Wright felt the subtle vibration of the vessel's transformation. A guard outside seemed nervous, its 4 arms twitching as it monitored a display. Wright had been working on her restraints for hours using a small tool hidden in the heel of her shoe. With a final twist, the cuffs released. She waited until the guard turned away, then struck quickly, using diplomatic combat training few knew was part of an ambassador's education. With the guard unconscious, Wright took its weapon and communication device. She needed to find out what was happening and relay the information back to Earth's forces. Dr. Olivia Clark, still working from her hidden facility on Karen, detected the power buildup in the Council flagship. Her face paled as she analyzed the readings. "They're charging a weapon that could crack Earth's crust," she said to her team. "We need to warn everyone immediately." She transmitted her findings to all human vessels and to Earth Command. Then she contacted Ryan Bell on Mars. "Ryan, I'm sending you data on the Council's planet killer. I think your gravitational disruptors might be our only chance to counter it." Bell studied the incoming data, his mind racing. The weapon creates a focused gravitational spike that would travel through a planet's mantle to the core. It's brilliant, but monstrous. He began making calculations. If we could create an opposing gravitic field, but we'd need to get at least one disruptor close to the flagship. On Earth, President Garcia received the warning about the planet killer. "How long do we have?" he asked Commander Powell. "Dr. Clark estimates 30 minutes before they can fire," she replied. "Our defensive shield from Project Prometheus might blunt the effect, but it won't stop it completely." Garcia nodded grimly. "Order all civilians to underground shelters, and tell Captain Monroe his new priority is to disable that weapon at any cost." Throughout cities worldwide, emergency systems broadcast evacuation orders. Millions of people rushed toward subway tunnels, basement shelters, and other underground structures. The orderly evacuation plans quickly gave way to panic in some areas as the reality of possible extinction set in. In Chicago, Kate Rodriguez helped direct people toward a nearby subway station. "Stay calm and keep moving," she called out, filming, even as she assisted. "Remember, the deeper underground you can get, the safer you'll be." An older woman stumbled, and Kate rushed to help her up. "Thank you, dear," the woman said. "Do you really think hiding underground will save us from aliens?" Kate managed a smile. "Honestly, I don't know. But giving up isn't the human way, is it?" In lunar orbit, Dr. William Jones and his team worked frantically to increase the power of Project Prometheus's shield. "If we bypass the secondary cooling systems, we can push output to 110%, suggested Dr. Karen Lee. "That could cause the whole system to melt down after 10 minutes, Jones objected. "If that planet killer hits, we won't need it for 11, Lee countered. Jones hesitated, then nodded. "Do it." On Mars, Governor Murphy prepared to launch one of the gravitational disruptors toward the Council flagship. "This is our best shot," he told Bell. "Can you pilot it remotely?" Bell nodded, though uncertainty showed on his face. The disruptor wasn't designed for this kind of precision movement, but I've written new control algorithms. It should work. "Should?" Murphy asked. "Welcome to the frontier of science, Governor." Bell replied with a tight smile. The small spherical device detached from its moorings and began accelerating toward Earth orbit, pushed by engines that had been hastily attached to its frame. Aboard the USS Defiant, Captain Monroe led his ship through a gauntlet of enemy fire. Smaller human vessels provided covering support, many sacrificing themselves to clear a path. "Shields at 30%, reported Lieutenant Adams as another hit rocked the ship. "Hull breaches on decks 3 through 5. "Seal those sections and keep going," Monroe ordered. "We need to get within range of that flagship." On the Council command ship, Ambassador Wright moved carefully through the corridors, avoiding patrols. She found her way to what appeared to be a data access terminal. Using the guard's access tool, she connected to the ship's systems. Years earlier, Wright had been briefed on the possibility of alien contact and had received specialized training in recognizing patterns and symbols. Now she tried to make sense of the alien interface, looking for anything related to weapon systems. "Come on," she muttered. "Where is it?" A flashing symbol caught her attention. It pulsed in time with the vibrations she could feel through the floor. That had to be the weapon system. She pressed it. A schematic appeared showing the unfolded sections of the ship and the massive energy buildup at its center. A countdown timer indicated less than 20 minutes until firing. Wright looked for a way to disable the weapon but found herself locked out of those controls. Instead, she accessed the ship's communication system and began transmitting the weapon's technical data to all human forces. In Washington, D.C., Commander Powell received a data packet from the Council flagship. "It's from Ambassador Wright," she told President Garcia. "She's alive and has sent us detailed schematics of their planet." "Killer weapon?" Powell forwarded the information to Dr. Clark and all military vessels. "There's a weakness," she said, studying the schematics. "The weapon draws power from 6 nodes positioned around the main emitter. If we can destroy even 2 of those nodes, it should prevent the weapon from firing." Across the solar system, the battle continued to rage. Human forces, though outnumbered, fought with desperate determination and unexpected effectiveness. Council ships that had conquered dozens of alien species found themselves struggling against an enemy they had dismissed as primitive. Daniel White, still coordinating the digital attack on Council systems, discovered a pattern in their communication, protocols that allowed him to send false orders directly to their fleet. "Let's add some confusion to the mix," he said to his online team as he inserted commands that sent several Council ships on collision courses with each other. In Earth orbit, the USS Defiant finally reached weapons range of the Council flagship. "Target those power nodes," ordered Captain Monroe, looking at the schematics Ambassador Wright had transmitted. "Everything we've got now." The ship's remaining weapons fired at the massive alien vessel. 2 of the 6 power nodes exploded, causing the flagship to shudder. Council Commander Kraxul raged at his officers. "Destroy that human vessel immediately!" Dozens of energy beams converged on the Defiant. The ship's shields failed completely, and its hull began to break apart under the assault. "Abandon ship," Monroe ordered his crew. "Get to the escape pods." As his crew evacuated, Monroe remained on the bridge. He set the damaged ship on a collision course with one of the remaining power nodes and locked the controls. From her hidden position in the Council flagship, Ambassador Wright watched through a viewport as the Defiant made its final approach. The human ship, trailing debris and fire, slammed into another power node, destroying it in a massive explosion. But it wasn't enough. 3 power nodes remained intact, and the countdown timer showed less than 5 minutes remaining. Ryan Bell's remote-controlled gravitational disruptor finally reached Earth orbit. He guided it toward the Council flagship with precise movements. "I need to get inside their shields," he told Governor Murphy over the communication link. "The gravitational effect needs to be generated close to the weapon core." Bell maneuvered the small device through the chaos of battle, using the distraction caused by the Defiant's sacrifice to slip past the flagship's defensive screen. "I'm in position," he reported. "Activating gravitational disruption field now." The device began emitting waves that warped the fabric of space around the planet-killer weapon. The remaining power nodes strained against forces they weren't designed to withstand. Commander Powell watched the sensor readings with held breath. "It's working," she said. The weapon's power is fluctuating. But then the readings stabilized again. The gravitational disruptor wasn't powerful enough to completely disable the weapon. 30 seconds to weapon discharge, announced an analyst in the command center. President Garcia looked at the tactical display showing Earth's defensive shield at maximum power, and the Council flagship preparing to fire. "I wish we had more time," he said quietly. At that moment, a new ship appeared, on the tactical display, approaching the Council flagship at incredible speed. It was Commander Samantha Powell's vessel. The day humanity defied the Galactic Council and its alien armies, Part 5 Commander Samantha Powell had made her decision the moment she saw the planet killer charging. Her vessel, a fast attack craft, was small compared to the massive Council flagship, but it had one advantage: speed. "All power to engines," she ordered her crew. "Prepare for impact." "Ma'am," her pilot said, "the calculations show we won't survive this." Powell nodded. "I know, but Earth will." She opened a channel to all human forces. "This is Commander Powell. It's been an honor serving with you all." Her ship accelerated to maximum speed, aiming directly for the central emitter of the planet-killer weapon. The Council flagship's defensive systems tried to target the small, fast-moving vessel, but it was too late. Powell's ship slammed into the weapon's main emitter at the exact moment it tried to fire. The resulting explosion tore through the flagship's central section, causing a chain reaction that spread to the remaining power nodes. From her position inside the flagship, Ambassador Wright felt the massive ship shudder around her. Emergency. Alarms blared as the corridor lights switched to an alien version of red alert. She knew she had to escape before the ship fell apart. Making her way toward what she hoped was a shuttle bay, Wright encountered Council Commander Crax Azul and 2 guards. The towering alien commander's exoskeleton was damaged, with fluid leaking from several joints. "The human ambassador," Crax Azul said, anger evident despite the translation device. "You have ruined everything." "You did that yourself when you threatened our planet," Wright replied, raising the alien weapon she had taken earlier. "You cannot hope to defeat the entire Council," said Crax Azul. "We have conquered 1,000 worlds." Wright smiled coldly. "Yet you've never encountered humans before. That was your first mistake." Before the commander could respond, another explosion rocked the ship, throwing everyone off balance. Wright used the distraction to slip past them and continue her search for escape. On Earth, the explosion of the planet-killer weapon was visible as a new, brief star in the daytime sky. In command centers and shelters across the planet, people watched sensor readings with a mixture of hope and disbelief. "The Council flagship is heavily damaged," reported an analyst in Washington, D.C. "Their weapon has been destroyed. Commander Powell's ship is gone." President Garcia closed his eyes briefly. "Make sure her name is remembered," he said quietly. Then, more firmly, "What's the status of the rest of their fleet?" "They appear to be in disarray, sir. With their flagship damaged and their main weapon destroyed, they've lost coordination. Our forces are continuing to engage." In the lunar facility, Dr. William Jones and Dr. Karen Lee monitored Project Prometheus as it continued to shield Earth. "Power levels dropping," said Lee. "The bypass is causing system-wide failures. We've got maybe 5 minutes before complete shutdown." Jones nodded. "It did its job. We bought enough time." On Mars, Ryan Bell stared at his monitor in disbelief. His gravitational disruptor, combined with Commander Powell's sacrifice, had worked better than he could have imagined. The disruption field had amplified the explosion, causing it to spread throughout the flagship's weapon systems. "The physics worked exactly like your models predicted," Governor Murphy told him. "You just saved Earth." Bell shook his head. "Commander Powell did that. I just helped set the stage." Aboard the damaged Council flagship, Zix Vorn received reports of defeats across the solar system. Human forces, though taking heavy losses, were prevailing against all expectations. The quantum defense network prevented reinforcements from arriving, and the hacking attacks had thrown Council communication into chaos. "How is this possible?" the alien diplomat asked no one in particular. "They were supposed to be primitives." A junior officer approached nervously. The human prisoner has accessed classified files from our database. She's downloaded information about the precursors and their connection to Earth. In a small shuttle, stolen from the flagship, Ambassador Wright quickly reviewed the files she had managed to copy. The information confirmed Commander Powell's suspicions, and more. Humanity hadn't just been visited by the precursors. They had been specifically engineered to one day challenge the Council. The precursors, facing extinction at the hands of the Council thousands of years ago, had recognized something unique. In early humans, an adaptability and determination unmatched by other species. They had made subtle genetic modifications, enhancing these traits and adding dormant capabilities that would emerge only when humans reached a certain technological threshold. We were their insurance policy, Wright murmured. Their way of ensuring the Council wouldn't rule forever. Across Earth's orbit, the remaining Council ships began to retreat. With their flagship crippled and their planet killer destroyed, their commanding officers made the decision to withdraw, rather than face complete destruction. Daniel White, still coordinating the digital attack from his apartment, watched the sensor feeds with growing excitement. They're running, he told his online team. Keep jamming their communications. Don't let them regroup. 3 months later, Earth had changed forever. The knowledge gained from captured Council technology accelerated human development by centuries. The first truly faster-than-light human vessel, named the Remembrance in honor of those who had fallen in the battle, prepared for its maiden voyage. In Geneva, a new United Earth headquarters had been constructed, designed to serve as humanity's diplomatic center for interstellar relations. Ambassador Wright, now appointed as Earth's first galactic envoy, prepared to address the world. The Council has withdrawn from our solar system, but they have not abandoned their belief that humanity is dangerous, she told the global audience. And perhaps they are right, though not in the way they feared. She displayed images of the precursor genetic modifications found in human DNA. We were designed to be adaptable, innovative, and fiercely independent. Not to conquer, but to ensure freedom in the galaxy. On a view screen behind her, images appeared of other alien worlds where news of humanity's successful resistance had sparked similar uprisings against Council control. The 1,000-year-old Galactic Council was beginning to fracture as the truth spread. Today we announce the formation of the Earth Alliance, said President Garcia, joining Wright at the podium. We extend membership to any species wishing to join in peaceful cooperation rather than hierarchical control. The first to accept this invitation were the Nelvari, a species previously quarantined by the Council for their dangerous philosophical ideas about freedom and self-determination. Aboard the Remembrance, Captain Jack Monroe, one of the few survivors of the USS Defiant, stood on the bridge of humanity's new flagship. The crew included not only humans but also representatives from 3 other species who had broken away from Council control. Navigation reports ready, Captain, said Lieutenant Steve Adams, who had also survived the Defiant's destruction. All systems operational. Monroe nodded and looked at the diverse crew working at their stations, humans serving alongside beings from distant stars, something that would have seemed impossible just months ago. The Council thought humanity was dangerous because we might someday challenge their power, he said quietly. What they never understood was that we never wanted to rule anyone. We just refused to be ruled. He gave the order that would begin humanity's true journey to the stars. Take us out, Lieutenant. There's a whole galaxy waiting to meet us. As the Remembrance accelerated away from Earth, its new drive creating a beautiful ripple in space-time, humanity stepped onto the galactic stage, not as conquerors or the conquered, but as liberators. Thought day humanity defied the Galactic Council became legend among the stars. Not as the day humans merely survived an overwhelming alien force, but as the catalyst that transformed an oppressive galactic regime into something better. The day the future of all sentient life changed forever,